I think the future for endorsements is getting to a point where it's getting bleak. The main reason why I say that is because cancel culture is so crazy, bro.
The psychology of the consumer, those brands and those companies know that, and they're going to continue to use that influence to draw eyes to their products. What we don't talk about a lot in America is you have to buy your freedom.
And it's just like we said, we say it all the time. Freedom of speech really ain't free.
Yeah, so CNN Business wrote an article a couple weeks ago that talks about the breakup between Kanye West and Adidas and Gap. And the article states that, or it's talking about the risk of having celebrity endorsers as partners with these big brands. And then, following Kanye's debacle, Kyrie got into a debacle with Nike, well, with his, I don't know if it's a controversy, or his controversy. We'll just say his controversy
True.
with his Twitter post, and then losing his endorsement with Nike. So that being said, Sticks, are we at the end, or are we going to see fewer products being endorsed by celebrities and athletes in the future?
I think the future for endorsements is getting to a point where it's getting bleak. The main reason why I say that is because cancel culture is so crazy, bro. Cancel culture is so crazy, and people are so quick to get in their feelings about something that somebody says. Now, I do agree that sometimes people do go too far with the things they say on social media, or even in post-game press conferences and things of that nature. But at some point, you have to, us as the fans need to kind of separate the person from their stardom, so to speak. Because in the Kyrie situation, we talked about this a couple of weeks ago. In the Kyrie situation, it was honestly just a post. He posted it with no comment, nothing underneath the post. It was just, I watched this. This is educational. That's what he meant by it. But in a sense, but on the flip side of that, since he didn't put a comment on there as to why he posted it, that's where most of the controversy came from, because of
Open
what
for interpretation.
exactly, and because of what the content of that documentary, where the anti-Semitism and stuff of that nature that was in that documentary that he posted, that's where a lot of that backlash for him came from. So I think that, like I said, us as the people, us as the audience that's watching these folk, we need to kind of, like we said, have conversations with these people and ask what they meant before we go off on a tangent and say, oh, you're this, you're anti-Semitic, or you're racist, or whatever. We need to make sure we have these conversations before we just jump off the handle, because that's probably not what they meant in the end. Now, Kanye, he was bugging. Kanye was bugging. But I think it's more so like social media now is kind of, they're so ticky tacky and so quick to, it's the public's fault, but social media is so quick to cancel now and put these labels on people now, that it's like, okay, now these major endorsers are like, okay, you really got to watch what you say, or you really, you know what I'm saying? But what you think about it?
So I think, I don't feel like it's something that we should expect to see in the near future, as far as celebrity endorsers being fewer, endorsing those products. But I think if celebrities like Kanye, who have these partnerships and these endorsements, continue to get in trouble, I think the brands will strongly consider taking a look at what's going on, look at the partnerships that they have. And I still don't think they'll like take away the endorsements, but the amount of dollars that they'll put in, I think they'll collectively come to agreement, which is illegal, but they'll find a way to do it and say, let's just not give them as much money. That way it doesn't hurt us as much. I think it's mainly going to be with celebrities, because athletes are usually heavily vetted before they go into whatever league they're going to. So football, when they go into the pre-draft stuff, they dig well into their background. Basketball the same way, baseball same way, I believe. But these celebrities, as far as actors and rappers or singers, whatever the case may be, I don't think their past is really dug up into that much, or their psychology is really dug into that much. It's just,
I can
oh,
agree
they
with
can
that.
sing, they can dance. Let's give them some money. Let's sign them to a deal. Let's let's have them endorse our products because they have a heavy influence on the culture, on the public. They can help us sell our products as well. So
Hmm.
I think with that being said, those type of individuals, the celebrities, they'll be heavily scrutinized and looked at before the brands open up their pocketbooks and say, yeah, we want you to endorse us and this is the amount of money that we're going to give you.
I agree with that. I agree with that because you got kids coming up, like we talked about Mikey Williams, who is a superstar,
Hmm.
who's got the Puma deal, and he's making money off of his likeness now, and he's going to be building these endorsements as he gets older and gets into the NBA as well. So I think, like you said, it's probably going to be. I don't think it's going to be something that's going to be the end of endorsements. Like they're going to stop endorsing these folk, but
Yeah.
I think it's going to be, like you said, less money to where it's like, okay, cool. If we don't give him this 1 billion, maybe we give him 250 million.
Yeah.
And if we
Still a
do,
lot of
if
money, but
so
not
it's a
the
lot of
money
money,
that,
but
yeah.
literally like a quarter of what you could have gotten. You know what I
Right.
mean? So it would have been so that way, if they do have a situation like Kanye and Adidas is going to be out so much money in their fourth quarter because of them losing that deal, that wouldn't hurt them so much in the future because, okay, in opposed to losing $243 million, maybe we might lose 1.5, or 150 million in opposed to, so it'll cut back the cost that they have to lose if something happens to where they have to cut an endorsement. But and you're right too. It's more so the celebrities in opposed to the athletes, because I think the athletes, their psychology is the game in
Hmm.
itself, in opposed to celebrities have more of a they have more of an eye in the public, so to speak,
Hmm.
because their their whole world is the people who love them.
Right.
Athletes too, but it's more so athletes don't think about the people as much as they think about the game. Like, the game is my job. This is what I love more than what the people say about me. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
And that's probably why Kyrie got in trouble, because he don't really care what they say, people say either. Like, he is such a free thinker. He don't really give a damn. But
Hmm.
most celebrities, like singers, actresses, and the like, are more so, okay, I have to appeal to these people because
Right.
they are what brings money, put food on my table. So if
Right.
I
They're the
don't
ones
have
that come to the concerts. They're
come
the
to
one that
the, I
buy
was just
my
about to say that.
albums, or
Yep.
they're the ones that go to the movies and
Yep.
whatnot. So I have to appeal to them in some form of fashion. But the thing is, when they get into this controversy, it's almost like they go against the people, which is fine. I think, nobody, we're everybody's different on this planet for a reason. If everybody was the same,
Hmm.
this world would be boring as I don't know
Boring
what.
as hell. Yeah,
Right,
facts.
right. But it's ironic that usually when they say stuff that is controversial is going against the public norms. And I think that's why companies have a responsibility to look at it and say, all right, you got into this small controversy, this is a consequence. All right, we're gonna do XYZ, rather than letting it build up. They embolden these individuals to go against the norm, and I'll talk about that a little bit later. They embolden them a little bit to go against the norm till it gets to a point where they can't have them endorse their products anymore because it's hurting their pockets now. And so when it gets to a major controversy, they just, all right, we got to cut you. We can't no longer have you endorse our products.
But see, do you think that kind of, so with that being said, as far as them maybe cutting endorsements or even cutting the amount of money that they give these celebrities, do you think that hurts? Which it probably, I probably answer my own question, but do you think that hurts like the up and coming star more than it hurts the larger star? Because here recently, a lot of the up and coming guys have been getting more endorsements because they're more so in Gen Z and
Hmm.
into the social media and how they want to actually project their message and endorse their product. But do you think that that's going to hurt like the up and coming starter who doesn't have as much of a public backing, but they have more of a social media backing? Does it hurt them more than it hurts the bigger celebrity?
I'm glad you said that. I actually think that it's going to help them. And the reason I think it will help them is because, as we mentioned, as we mentioned, the dollars will probably get cut. And if you cut those dollars and you're trying to attract high profile, I say A list, A caliber celebrities, they're more than likely not going to sign with you, which will inevitably lead the brands to go down a tier to find individuals
Mhm.
that can still have the similar influence, or maybe not as much as a Kanye or um, Jay Z, or I'm say out the names, the household
Bigger
names,
names, right?
the LeBrons, the Drakes,
Mhm.
and Taylor Swift's, whatever the case may be, which that situation is crazy too. Her selling out 2 million. Yeah, we'll talk about that
Her
maybe
tickets got to
sometime.
$45,000, bro.
Yeah,
Crazy.
yeah, yeah. So
But either way, yeah.
those type of caliber of individuals, they'll go down a tier to pull uh your social media influencers and give them a little bit more money than what they were giving them, because now you can kind of control them a bit,
Mhm.
because they don't have the status that the other individuals have, and they are trying to achieve the money that other individuals have. So I
Mhm.
think it actually helps them rather than hurts them. It may hurt them slightly because now on a personal level, because now they'll be more reluctant to actually do what they do on a regular basis or
Mhm.
step outside of the norm. But for financially, I think it'll help them, because again, I don't think brands will lessen their, and this is it's opinion, it's not fact. I'm
Mhm.
not basing this off any fact. I don't
Right.
I don't think brands will lessen um, endorsements. If anything, it'll go up. Harvard Business School performed a study on celebrity endorsements where they found that 14 to 19% of advertisements that were aired on television were endorsed by some type of celebrity. I only see that going up. I see that at least going up by another 6% to 25%. Um, because I mean, it's just influence in our society is a major draw. Word of mouth, and the in not the influence, the word of mouth and the actual person attached to it is how we as a public decide it shouldn't be this way, but we decide what we want to spend, where we want to spend our money. And
Agreed.
the psychology of the consumer, those brands and those companies know that, and they're going to continue to use that influence to draw eyes to their products.
Yep, and I think a lot of the endorsers are leaning more towards more social media endorse or social media advertising, and even YouTube advertising and Twitch and all of these advertisers that are drawing more eyes, because of course the attention span is so much shorter and nobody really watches TV anymore, honestly. So
Right.
like actual commercials on television, on network television, aren't as big anymore as far as the endorsers are concerned, as far as advertising dollars. But
Hmm.
now it's more so like Google ads and like the internet is running everything. And
Hmm.
eventually I think network TV is probably already dead, but it's dying like a mug. But
Right.
everything's gonna be online now. So a lot of these younger guys, a lot of these Gen Zs and the generation after are going to have that influence on social media, to be able to have these endorsements to get it out to the masses, because there's so many people on these platforms that have millions and millions of followers.
Yep.
And the endorsement dollars there are crazy. So I do agree. I was in a sense, initially before you said that it was going to hurt, but like you said, if the larger guys want more money and they are cutting back on dollars because of the controversies that have happened in the past, and they do start cutting down on dollars, then I think that the lower tier guys be like, okay, I want to get where Drake is, I want to get where Jay-Z is, and if this company is giving me this amount and he won't take it, well, I'll take it and then use this for a couple of years. And maybe they might give me that money that they wanted to give Drake. You know
Right.
what I'm saying?
Right.
So it'd be one of those things, I think, too.
Yeah. I also think with the majority of the Generation Z and part of the millennials living most of their life on the internet, it's more easy for brands to look at their social media engagements and how they've been interacting with others and determine
Hmm.
if they're a good fit or not, or determine their potential psychology. Whereas, us and Kanye's, those type of individuals, a big portion of their life was not lived on the internet. So you
Hmm.
don't really know how they perceive certain things. Whereas with the younger generation, you can pretty much get a gauge on you might not know for sure, but you can kind of get a gauge on how they perceive certain things
Mm-hmm.
and maybe how they'll act if something else occurs that they don't agree with, or they want to voice their opinion. They can kind of see, okay, well, I don't think this person will do X. I don't think they'll do this. So we're probably safe to give them this amount of money.
For sure. And another thing with the endorsements too is it depends on what you're endorsing as well. Because if it's a clothing line, you got to figure out who fits that standard for you. But if
Hmm.
it's something like body wash,
Oh, here we go.
you gotta figure out who hits that line for you too. And I feel like it's it does have a lot to do with how the person interacts with their audience
Hmm.
and what their core content is on their platform and what
Yep.
they push outside of your product. So that way you get that good fit and you're actually giving the person the money that you actually want to give this money to. But just like you said earlier too, fully vetting these people is what is really going to ensure that your money is going in the right place. And not to say that they didn't vet Kyrie,
Yeah.
because he's had this Nike deal for what, almost a decade now, just
I
about.
guess. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Sounds about
So
right.
not to say that they didn't fully vet him whenever they gave him the deal, but going throughout his career and some of the things that he's already done, maybe they should
Hmm.
have had these conversations with him going through. So maybe with the endorsements too, and this is something I just came up with just now, as the years go by and you have this endorsement with this person, maybe this company needs to at least have a quarterly meeting with these people that they're giving these endorsements to and say, hey, how do you feel about these things?
Yeah. I
And then
think.
that can,
Go ahead. Go
go
ahead.
ahead.
Go ahead. Go ahead. Go ahead.
No,
No,
and I
finish.
was going to say, how do you feel about um, are you anti-Semitic? How do you feel about this? And maybe they should. I don't know. Maybe that's a little bit too controversial for these companies, but they need to figure out exactly how they feel about a lot of things. So that way, if something does come out in the future, they're not blindsided by it, and they can say, "Okay, we knew this is how he or she
Yeah.
felt." So
Well,
that
it's
way,
all
it's not a
about
blind side.
control.
Yeah,
Yeah.
true.
Ultimately, it's all about control. And I feel like, we just talked about the dollars for those A-list stars, in endorsing products. I feel like with companies, if they do decide to go that route where they'll just go to the lower tier stars, and start to give them money, they'll continue to have them endorse their product till they achieve or reach a certain status, and then, and this is again just a thought, I don't know for sure,
Hmm.
they'll just release them saying, okay, you reached this platform or this status, you are no longer somebody that we can control,
True.
so we have to let you go.
That makes
um,
sense. That makes sense.
and
That's a good thing. That's a good way to put it.
yeah, because I really think it's all about control, because what we don't talk about a lot in America is you have to buy your freedom. And it's not it's
Mm.
it's not it's not like we're, I mean, people don't like to hear this. We're not slaves, but we are slaves to a certain degree, because freedom is the ability to do what you want with your time. And when these endorsements and these type of money that entertainers and athletes are getting, technically they're free, but because they are enslaved to these, and I probably shouldn't say that, but because they're getting this amount of money from these companies, they can't do what they want to with their
They
freedom.
can't
They
they
can't
can't be
say
free as they really really want to be.
exactly, because they're they're bound to certain contracts, and
Hmm.
with a moment's notice, that contract can be taken from them. Now they've made their money, and they can, it doesn't hurt them as much as it would hurt somebody like you and I, who we're
Hmm.
not in that situation by no regards, but
Right.
we are nowhere near where a Kyrie or a Kanye West is. So, for us, taking away a $1 billion contract right now with the salaries that we make is like, oh man, you took away. But
Why
for
did
them,
you
it's
do that? Yeah,
just like,
right.
yeah, all right, you took my money. Okay, that's fine.
Hmm.
But it's really all about. I say all that to say it's all about control.
It is. It's definitely all about control, and like you, and it's crazy you say that because there's a lot of people who feel like these people should be able to say and speak and do and perform and act how they want to act
Hmm.
because the land of the free, right? America
Mhm.
is the land of the free. But like you said, it's like these companies to some extent control these people under these contracts, because you have to abide by a certain standard to be able to keep that contract. And if you're going outside of what they feel like is the standard for them, then like you said, it went from Kanye having $1 billion contract with Adidas to literally the next week losing that contract, going from a billionaire to 400 million, and literally the snap of a finger, because Adidas took that money from them because he was acting outside of the standard that Adidas had for him. So you have to, and just like we said, we say it all the time, freedom of speech really ain't free.
Yep.
So the things that you say hold a high regard to the public, and within that, the public eye, that's where the endorsements. That's where these companies, because you're appealing to the masses, and so is these endorsements in these companies. So you have to sell a product for this company, but the public has to love it. So
Yep.
if you are, I keep hitting this damn mic. If you are if you are not appealing to the public, then now you're hurting your endorsement. You're hurting this company. So they have to
Right.
either cut money or take money, because
Exactly.
now you're not helping us sell our product anymore.
Right.
So in order for freedom of speech to be free, can't accept no endorsements, dog. You got to be you literally have to be independent.
Yeah, unless you're
That's the
endorsing your husband, say yeah.
You know what I'm saying? You have to like literally endorse yourself to be as free as you want to be.
Yep.
And if not, if you want to accept these endorsements, then you have to accept the terms that these companies put on you. And if you
Exactly.
don't, then you can go in a blink. There's so many more entertainers. There's so many more up and
Mhm.
coming entertainers that these companies can go to. So if you want to keep your money, you got to appeal to what the company is telling you to do.
Right.
So you're kind of quote unquote slaves to that kind of system. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So do I think that brands will no longer have partnerships with celebrities and athletes? Absolutely not. But I do think they'll start to regulate those endorsements a bit more, and
Mm-hmm.
rein in the personalities that they bring, and look at a little bit closer at who actually is endorsing them, so it doesn't hurt their bottom line, because we know that's all they really care about is their pockets and their profit for the company, which in turn is for their shareholders. But what we learned as as young kids is to present yourself well, not only for yourself but for your family, for your teammates, for your friends, so on and so forth. We kind of sign that social contract of how to
Mm-hmm.
act in public. I think companies, to a degree, they look for influencers that kind of toe that line of following that
Just a
social
bit.
contract. Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of overstep it just slightly, but when they step way out of bounds, that's when they like say,
Mm-hmm.
okay, no, you're doing too much. We gotta take it back. But they kind of embolden them for a
Mm-hmm.
bit to do what they do, to keep bringing in advertisers, bringing in money for the product that they're selling,
Mm-hmm.
because as we found out in the last couple of years, there's such thing as what we call outrage advertising, outrage media, which
Yep.
they always say no, what is it? No marketing is bad marketing.
Yeah. No,
All attention
yeah.
is good attention. So
Mm-hmm.
that's where we're going right now, and I just think brands need to be more responsible on what they do and how they react to certain situations.
So before we end this segment, let me ask this one last question. We talked about back in with episode 2, we talked about NIL, name, image, and likeness, right?
Hmm.
And with these endorsements probably being a little bit more strict on how they give their money out and who they want to endorse their product, how does that fit with these up and coming athletes and stars, if they're trying to use their name, image, and likeness to endorse their product? the the meaning of, what, to me, this is my own personal opinion, the meaning
Hmm.
of name, image, and likeness is using who you are to sell this product. So
Hmm.
if you are kind of in a bubble with who you are, how can you use your name, image, and likeness to endorse a product? Because a lot of who you are is being free to be you to sell this
Yep.
product. So
Well,
how can you do that?
I think the thing with that college rule for the NIL was put in place to allow those. athletes the ability to make money off of their name, image, and likeness.
Mm-hmm.
Before that, they didn't even have the ability to have an extracurricular job if they had the opportunity to, because they felt like boosters would give them improper benefits or give them money to money outside of their scholarships, where now it doesn't matter, as long as it's within the rules. I don't know what that is. We talked about
Right.
that, so we still don't really know what it is, but as long as is within the rules, they can now get money for their name, their image, and their likeness. Now, how that fits inside of that bubble for them to be who they are, I mean, I still think it's a control thing, because then
Mm-hmm.
the athlete in college is probably getting double regulated, because one, they got to answer to the university, and then
Mm-hmm.
two, if they do have those endorsements, they have to answer to that to
That
that
company.
that company or that brand where they probably take their dollars from them.
True. I agree with you. I just wanted to see what you thought, because I want that NIL to keep going, because I do agree that a lot of these college athletes and these small time athletes should be able to get paid off their name, image, and likeness, especially if the university is doing so.
Mm-hmm.
But it's something to be said about being able to be free to be yourself with these companies giving you your money. So I agree with
Mm-hmm.
that. But I think my final wisdom on it is, I don't think it's going anywhere either. I think it would be a little bit more regulated, and I think a lot of these companies will try to exact a little bit more control on these people to be able to say, "Hey, okay, like you see what happened to these people in the past. Let's not be them." You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
So let's figure out a way that we can have this amicable relationship between both of us, so that way we can make money for years and years and years to come. So I think they will
Yep.
kind of put a little bit more pressure on these people to be a little bit less controversial, but
Mm-hmm.
try to keep them in a way to say, okay, be yourself, but don't be them. So
Yep.
I think I feel the same way.
Yep. So if you're on YouTube, leave us a comment down at the bottom letting us know how you feel
Like,
about
comment,
the
subscribe.
exactly. Let us know what your thoughts on the celebrity endorsements, and are they here to stay, or will we see fewer in down the line? Like you said, she's more famous at this point and probably makes more money at this point than Safari. We have to stop assuming the worst and start assuming the best. I think in certain situations,
And
because
I agree. I agree.
This is not helping our community whatsoever.
And once you get over 200,000 gross income per year, it goes to 4,300. It doesn't go up anymore, no matter how much you put in.
Man, you know how many people in other states was like, "Damn, we need Georgia's law to make a lot of money."
Listen, bro,
50
because
Cent will love that law.